7 weeks have passed since we set sail from Enroth. Slaves freed from our skirmishes with Regnan fleets talk of the turmoil in Arathia. I suspect their stories are true, but I must see the evidence with my own eyes. The ocean tides were kind enough to bury the fallen on its shores. However, the smoking ruins of Cloudfire greeted us with nothing but destruction and the stench of death. With no survivors, only the battlefield could tell me what happened here. Despite the breath of devastation, the presence of Minotaurs suggests a raiding party. However, the ranks were too well organized. This is the work of the dungeon overlords. Evidently, the wizards were prepared, but overrun nevertheless. These atrocities rend my heart and fuel my anger. Arathia's banner must be respected, never disgraced. I think of my beloved Roland and my son Nikolai, and how much further this war will carry me from them. But my duty is clear. My father's kingdom must survive. Arathia must not fall to its enemies.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. Rhypi here, and welcome to the first video of Rhypi Gaming. In this video, we're gonna play through Heroes Might and Magic 3, the complete edition, and we're gonna do the tutorial level first, just to introduce what this game has in store. In future videos, play through different scenarios and campaigns. With that in mind, I'm gonna switch over to the tutorial so we can see what this game has to offer. Welcome to the Heroes Might and Magic 3 tutorial. Whether you're new to the Heroes series or a seasoned veteran, you come to the right place. Click the check button when you're ready to begin. If you've not done so already, you should print out the Heroes 3 tutorial document located in the folder where you install Heroes of Might and Magic 3. You can view and print the document by selecting it from your Windows Start menu. So, our character's Lord Heart. You can always restart multiple times in some instances, but not all instances. And normally we don't have that high of movement speed, but with the tutorial they want you to learn the ropes. Our resources that we typically have, is the wood. I keep forgetting that keeps going down. Oh well, I'll do it right here. Wood, mercury, ore, sulfur, crystals, gems, and gold. Depending on which hero you're with, and some of these may be more valued than others. Typically all of the heroes want gold, wood, and ore, but it depends on the 8th creature, or excuse me, 7th creature. I'm thinking of a different game with 8th. That you'll use to fully upgrade your stuff. Here's My Magic 3 is different than most games where every creature has an upgrade. So you have to figure out the right balance of when you're going to upgrade, when you're not going to upgrade. So with that in mind, let's talk about our hero that we have currently. So this is Lord Heart, level 1. 1 knight. His attack is 2, defense is 2, power 1, knowledge 1. His specialty, which I believe is the same amount what part of the game you are, is a state where you receive a 5% per level bonus to state skill. Then we have good morale at the moment, neutral luck. Default's usually good and neutral for a knight. Currently our experience is 75, and it will take us to 1,000 to get to the next level. And for knights, we usually have the default of 10 spell points. What's in this tutorial showing, because we want movement speed, we have expert pathfinding, which reduces the movement penalty for rough terrains by 75%. And extra logistics, where it increases your hero movement points overland by 30%. But keep in mind, these two are not always your starting. So when we start moving, you'll notice that we move a lot, but on other maps we won't have it. We have basic leadership that increases your hero troops morale by 1, so that's why we're starting with good morale. And our basic states, where currently that we contribute 125 gold per day to your cost. Notice that some of these spellings are what you'll see usually in Europe. I'm currently playing on God Galaxy, where most of the writing is from the England based ROM or CD. But it's the best way for me to record this video. And what also helps our movement speed is this item called Stressian gloves. Worn on the hand, these gloves increase your movement hero movement, rate over land, and boots speed. When on the feet, these boots increase your hero's movement rate over land. So these combined with everything else helps us get those +3 on our green. With that in mind, we're going to look at both our creatures that we have to start with. Our pikeman is a level 1 castle creature. Attack is 4, defense is 5 by default. But because of our attack, it can attack for 6 and defense is 7. Damage is typically per attack 1 to 3. Health is at 10 per unit and a speed of 4. So not too high, but probably is one of our slow creatures when we see other ones. We currently have a morale 2 because of basic leaderships, and that all of our troops are on 1 alignment of creatures, since right now all castle. And we have basic luck, or neutral luck. I should say not basic. If you ever want to dismiss a unit, you can, but I really don't use this as much, but I know some use it when... Oops, I lost my train of thought. When you have multiple alignments and you're trying not to get a battle royale, or after you let something follow. Next unit is archers, a level 2 creature castle with attack of 6, defense of 3, so kind of the opposite of pikemen, but the archer is able to load a bow, so it has a default of 12 shots, and its damage per attack is 2 to 3. And keep in mind for both of these, it's usually per unit, so 7. So if you multiply each, you will get 14 to 21 damage each shot. Health is 10 per unit, so about the same as pikemen, so 70 health. And speed is also at 4. I've usually seen archers go first, but sometimes you do see the pikeman goes first. If you have a quest going on, you'll see it here. Right now we have none since we just started. If you ever want to dismiss a hero, you can do it right here. I usually do it when I'm combining troops, but not the starting character unless I really need to. And you can set your combat to loose or tight. I rarely use tight, especially for different creatures we'll talk about later on. I usually use loose, and if I ever get the skill, at tactics, but most of the time you're not going to start that unless you have specific heroes. And then if you ever want to split a creature, you can press this button or the shift keys sometimes work in that you can do this and then click, or click shift and then click on the empty box. Both works, just depends on what's your playstyle. With that in mind, I usually like having my range on every other box and my melee or flying units that we'll see in the future in the 1, 3, 5, 7. So for now, let's exit this and let's check out our town, Castellius Chaos. Right. So with that in mind, we have the town hall where you're gonna buy all your building requirements that you want. We have our tavern, which you can recruit heroes. In here, we have 2 different clerics, Ryan and Ada, and they both cost 2,500. But you cannot have another hero in the town on the bottom row. You can if they're in your top, and most people don't realize that when they're first playing because they don't always teach you that. This is the marketplace where you can switch your resources around. Sometimes may be beneficial depending on what you're trying to buy. And you can also give resources to another player. This is more for multiplayer purposes. If you're working on a team, keep in mind no guarantees that you get it back. This is where we're going to pick up our new unit in a second. This is where we recruit our archers, and this is where we recruit our pikemen. Every week, we get right now 14 pikemen per week, 9 archers per week, and 4 swordsmen. So with that in mind, let me buy my units of the ones that we know already. And I'll combine these to get a better attack. And then our swordsman. This will be our level 4 unit. Unit that they usually like giving these units up first. if it's a custom map that was provided by the company, video, or now Ubisoft, depending on where you buy this game at. And I'm gonna put swordsman's right here on the third spot. So swordsman is very powerful for what it has. It is for level 4. Default is 10 attack, 12 defense, 6 to 9 damage per swordsman, so 24 to 36 overall. Health is 35 per unit, so that's a total of 140 health, and speed of 5. And we have a morale of 3, not just 2, because currently we're in a tavern. In a tavern, when you're in this castle or other buildings of our places that we get our stuff from, we can have better morale when someone attacks you. And before we look at what we're going to buy today, we're going to look at the mage guild. Because we're not a magic user, it will prompt us every time to cast spells. Your hero must first buy a spell book for 500 gold. Do you wish to buy one? I sometimes do, sometimes don't, depending on what I'm doing. In this case, just going to buy it so we can showcase it. So this one, it defaults to being a level 3 mage guild, but typically you have to start from level 0. Our level 1 skills are shield, spell, protection from water, cure, and magic arrow. Our level 2 skills are shuttle boat, precision, ice bolt, and weakness. And our level 3 skills are landmine, anti-magic, and frost ring. If we upgrade to level 4, it will be here, and level 5 will be this book. Some places have a level 6. I can't remember in this game offhand, but it's what we currently have. In Town Hall, we have many different options, but notice a lot of things are X because it requires different things that we don't have available to us yet. But notice most of these require a fort. That if you're on the first 2 rows, usually you don't need a fort. So it depends on your style of building, if you want to get creatures first or other stuff, and depending on how many towns you have or castles. But keep in mind, as you're building, so is your enemy. So it depends on your playstyle, what's going to be best for you, and what you have to adapt to depending on what your opponent does. For now, we're going to buy the fort, where it provides your town with defensive walls, which officially makes it more of a city. That will have it where the castle does protect our creatures if we ever are attacked. Requires 20 wood, 20 ore, 5,000, excuse me, not 500 gold. It's a little expensive, but it will be worth it by being able to upgrade our units or buy the other units that we're able to buy. And now it'll be here that we have the fort. And here will show the town hall and how much money we make for each town. And notice, because we have the fort, our picture has changed too. Gonna go ahead and click on this treasure chest. So you're always gonna be given a choice of giving it to the gold gold for yourself or to the peasants for experience. And I'll always say peasants no matter who you're talking the chess to when we're looking at other players, even though peasants is can't be a unit that you buy. But at first with Heroes 3, that unit didn't exist. Even though it was mainstay up to that point and still is. So for me, because I know that we're about to level up, I sometimes choose this, or I sometimes get gold, but I'm gonna go ahead and level up so we can see our two options. Options that you'll always see it to your level up. In this case, this part is typically random. In this case, we get attack skill of 1, so it makes us now 3 once I press the check mark. And our choice this time is advanced leadership. That increases our morale by 2 instead of 1. So it helps us if we have multiple alignments that we won't have to worry about negative defects as much. Or basic mysticism, where it allows your hero to regenerate 2 spell points per day. It's a decent skill if you're a cleric, not much as a knight until we upgrade other stuff or get more spell power and knowledge. For now, I'm gonna do advanced leadership. I'm gonna go here for the sawmill so we can get 2 wood a day, and ore pit will provide us with 2 ore per day. So I'm gonna go up here. Wow, this place looks creepy, and with good reason. It's cursed ground. Anytime you fight on a battle on cursed ground, both you and your opponent lose any luck or morale bonuses currently in effect. We certainly don't want that to happen to us now, so let's follow the road east towards the waterfall. So keep in mind, because we're in tutorial area, it's gonna keep recommending us things. And in this case, some of the times I buy something right now for heroes during tutorial, but because I want to show off different things, I'm gonna go ahead and choose Adelina. And if you wanted to, before we buy it, could right click to see which one we want. I'll probably pick up this guy too at a later point. But for Adelina, we don't have any archer accessories. Not all the time you get lucky that if you're wanting to reset to get the perfect town including heroes, you can. It just depends on how many times you want to reset. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. As I've seen. So if we look at Adelina, hers is different than Lord Hard, that she's a cleric and the magic user. So because of that, she starts with 1 attack, 0 defense, 2 power or spell power, and 2 knowledge. Her skill is specialty Bless, and she'll always start with Bless. So if we look at her skill right now, because we're in town / castle, we get the other skills, but right now it's showing only the adventure skills. But because Bless is a combat skill, you'll notice that if we look at all, the Bless is right here. So that's one skill that Lord Heart doesn't have that she has available to her stuff. And because we had 2 knowledge points, we get 20 points instead of just 10. Go ahead and go down here just to make sure it's fully covered, so you don't have questions what's over here. And next time we're going to continue with the tutorial, explain different things about this game. I'm Rhypi, and have a good day or night depending on when you're watching this video. Goodbye.